How do you see the legacy of President Obama now? He's almost becoming a lame duck.
He has made many changes which are, I think, very good, among which, of course, is the re-establishment of relations with Cuba. And, but as with other presidents, he made promises which he couldn't keep. He couldn't close down Guantanamo Bay 2 days after he became president, for example. He's still around. And there are many practices which he thought he could do away with, but he cannot do away. But things like establishing relations with Cuba, solving the problem between Iran and US, and a few other things, he was quite successful. But one has to remember that many of his policies are enunciated at the end of his term. And it does not mean that his successor will stick to the decisions or the policies that he made. So it may be like all lame duck president. It's good to hear, but it will not be implemented.
He participated recently in the G-Summit here in Japan, and also he visited Hiroshima, being the first American president ever to do something like that. Do you see any significance in such visit?
Yeah, I suppose the visit to Hiroshima in itself is a kind of admission that the whole thing was wrong. He did not apologize, but the fact that he visited Hiroshima is an admission in itself that this kind of thing should not happen, that nuclear weapons should not be used. So to that extent, I think the visit was good. But of course, as I said, one of the demands made, which he accepted, was that nuclear weapons should be abolished. He said yes, but it will take a long time. How long, we don't know, but he's not going to be in power anymore, so other people may have other decisions.
Just before we conclude this very interesting question, I just want to ask you one last question. The Republican presidential contender, Donald Trump, was quoted as saying that if he were to become president, he would ban Muslims from entering the United States. What's your comment on that?
Well, I think Donald Trump is an example of the average American. He does not know much about what is happening outside of America. You know, the Americans consider America as the world. That is why when they play American football, and it's all between them, and they call it the World Series. Of course, for them, America is the world. But once he becomes president, he will realize that the world is much bigger, much more complex than America. He's not going to deal with domestic politics. He's going to deal with international politics. At that stage, he may have to revise many of his ideas, especially as his staff, his permanent staff, will point out to him that certain things cannot be done. This happened to Obama. It's happened to every president elected. After they become elected, they cannot implement their promises simply because around them would be advisors, and these advisors know the problems faced by America much more than the new president. So they will have an influence, a big influence over the new president, whether it be Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. The same thing will happen.
Dr. Mahatir, it's a great honor to have you, and thank you very much for giving us this interview.